What's up, guys? This is my 6-week update, and I have a few things to talk about. So, first of all, a lot of people do this for different reasons. Sometimes it's to abstain specifically from watching videos, sometimes it's to just to change their life in general, and then some people do it to basically stop the solo missions and specifically want to do duo missions, just meaning with other people is okay, but by themselves is not okay. And then there are some people that just basically want to cut off everything. And for me, basically, my biggest thing has always been essentially just not doing the solo missions. There have been times in the past where I've kind of like gone off of hard mode and I've been in relationships and things like that during this process. But I wanted to bring this up because for basically most of the 6 weeks, I was pretty much just like completely like celibate, like I was, not engaging in anything. And recently there were a few nights where I was really having a lot of trouble sleeping because of back pain and things like that. And I basically went off of hard mode for one night so that I could sleep better, is essentially what I'm getting at here. So I'm not super happy about that, but it was one of those things where it was like I was literally like suffering and could not find a way to sleep. I honestly might need to ask you guys' advice about this, because I still have some pretty bad upper back pain on my right side. And basically what happened was I did some stretches that were supposed to help with it, and it was already healing, but then it actually got worse after I did the stretching, and basically woke up in the middle of the night and could not go back to sleep because my adrenaline was so high. But I only really went off of hard mode like one time, so there were no videos involved or anything like that, but it was just like a solo mission, if you want to call it that. And so like I said, I'm not super happy about that, but I'm also trying to just accept that it kind of was what it was. And also, this one felt more like an executive decision that I made, because it was like basically I either sleep or I don't sleep was kind of like where I was at. And I really needed to sleep with my back pain and such. So it was kind of just one of those things where I don't feel that I made that decision out of like feeling like I needed to, in the sense that like it was because I really just wanted to do that. It was more because like I was like, okay, I gotta sleep, I gotta figure something out. And normally I take allergy medicine, and I recently stopped to kind of help with just not feeling so groggy all the time. But what happened was, also when I stopped taking the allergy medicine, I was so used to that helping me get to sleep that I think my system was still kind of getting used to it a little bit. So it's been a little bit of a weird past few days, but I don't really think that one thing is going to derail the whole thing. So I'm just trying to really quickly just say, well, that was that. Just moving forward here. I'm not counting it as a relapse, because it was a decision that I made for a very specific reason. But I will say I did notice that afterwards my anxiety did go up a little bit. Not anything extreme, but another thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop drinking coffee. I think, at least like as much as I have been. One of the reasons that I switched to drinking coffee was for a long time, I was kind of like in a transitional phase these past few months, and I didn't have like my normal tea setup that I had before, but I recently got it back in the house. Um, and tea, for whatever reason, seems to work much better with me. So today I'm kind of like reducing coffee. I'm only drinking half of a cup today, and I'm just gonna kind of slowly wind it back to just doing the tea again. Um, I don't think that coffee like causes anxiety, but I do think like if you have really any underlying anxiety, it definitely is not going to help it and will probably just make it a little bit worse. But anxiety's been a little bit better, honestly, just in the second month. Um, the second month has been a little bit more challenging in some ways because it's been like a lot of um, it's almost like you have more of an urge to like check yourself to make sure that everything's still like working properly or something, and I don't know why that is. um, I think it's partially because if you've really been like on hard mode the whole time, which I was until very recently, you kind of like feel this tendency of just like wondering if, when you finally do engage in maybe like duo missions again, then, is everything going to happen how it's supposed to? And I would highly advise you to not just, it's going to be fine. I guarantee you that. And that's something that was pretty tricky for me in the past few weeks. There were a few times where I almost like gave into it, and my urges were definitely like kind of high on certain days. So I would say all in all, like the second month is easier than the first in some ways, but so far it has been harder in other ways. And it was really difficult kind of reasoning with myself in the past few days here, because I really had to ask myself like what was the reason that I was that I did want to engage in the solo mission. And I think like I had to really be honest with myself, and I realized that it really was because I was like not able to sleep. So that's why I'm kind of like okay with this one time, but I also don't want to make that happen again. And I'm kind of like, for me personally, I don't really want to have that happen as much as possible. I'm not like, I don't think that is like the worst thing that can happen. I mean, obviously the main thing for me that I try to avoid is basically slipping back into the real addiction. But to me, that's like a kind of like a yellow flag. Like a red flag would be like you fully like relapse, but a yellow flag is like, okay, that's not great, but it's not like you're swimming in the deep water, But basically, it feels kind of like I stepped into the shallow water and things are still okay, but I need to turn around and go back to the beach, basically. I don't even know if that's a good analogy, but so anyway, that's kind of where I'm at 60 days in here. And things have continued to be pretty good for the most part. The back pain that I've been experiencing has really been inhibiting me a little bit. It seemed like it was getting better up until like yesterday, and then got really bad again. But I did take some Advil, and I'm not gonna work out today other than walking. I think I just need to take a break from exercise, maybe for a day or two, because I've got a trip to make this weekend, and I'm gonna be like in a van for a while traveling. So I really don't want to be like messing up my back any further. So I'm gonna try to just do like mild exercise, like walking, and maybe if I'm feeling like it's not a problem, I could do a little bit more, but I'm really not trying to push the boundaries too much because I just don't want to have this happen again. But if any of you guys have ever had like specifically upper back pain, any advice would be appreciated. I've done things like icing it, Epsom salt baths, things like that. It's really annoying because it's been like 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks that I've been kind of dealing with this, but I know it can last longer than that for some people. And then Advil obviously has been helpful, but just trying to figure out like if there's anything else I can do to help, but it might just be time. But anyways, thanks for tuning into this video. Would love to hear you guys' thoughts, and hope that the midweek is going well. This will likely be maybe the last time I update until next week because, like I said, I'm traveling this week. So look for another one coming up shortly. But until then, peace. Have a great week.